it's dark as hell as well because it's pretty late in the evening. So, but it's beginning to get cold. How is it on your end?
It has dropped 30 degrees in the past 2 days here in Ohio.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
So
it's been
so it's
crazy.
colder.
Fall came in a hurry.
Yeah, it's.
I wanted to thank you for taking time to speak with me today.
Yeah, well, thank you, man. Thank you. I fell asleep with the. I have a kid. He's 4 years old, and he always wants me to lay beside him when he needs to sleep. And it's just I go out, just like a light. So yeah,
Well,
it's good.
I'll tell you what. One thing that's lights out is your new album. Soundtrack for End Times is great from top to bottom.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
How was the recording process for you guys this time around?
Yeah, well, for the first time, we stayed at home to record the album. We recorded at Martin's studio, Boost Studios, and it's been tough for him definitely because he wanted to have everything just to be perfect, So he spent
Mhm.
a lot of time making sure that everything was top notch, and also it's been pretty terrifying for him to actually record the album and then having to send the tracks to Jacob Hansen and just be like hoping that he's satisfied with the result, and he was very satisfied with it. So and of course Jacob did the mixing and mastering like we usually use him because he's a big part of the Mercenary sound.
Mhm.
But it's been nice, to have the studio just 20 minutes away from home, and the recording process for me with doing the vocals has been really, relaxing because Martin and I are a good pair doing the vocals because he's really good at making like vocal harmonies. Every time I have a main melody for the chorus, he's really good at, like when he does his leads, he's really good at finding these harmonies, and he's just the perfect match for me to do these vocals with. So for me, it's been a big pleasure recording this album, and also I got to like dive into um, some more elements of my vocals because we had a lot more time to spend, to like dive into which vocal expressions and stuff like that I
Sure.
suit the different parts of the music. So that's been amazing for me personally to have that time to really just like put in the details.
One of my favorite tracks on the album is Become the Flame. I wanted to talk to you about that one and ask you how that song came to be.
Yeah, well, that's one of the songs that Martin primarily wrote the music for, and his style is a bit more melodic and a bit more. It's different, you can, at least when you've known the guys for as long as I have. I've been in the band for almost 20 years now, and
Yes.
I feel that Jacob and Martin together has the very different styles, but it matches up really good. And "Become the Flame" was actually a song that we struggled to find out it's actually had a place on the album. We talked about if we should have a song that shouldn't be on the album, and actually Martin said that maybe it was "Become the Flame" because it had a different expression in the music, and we just all talked about it. It would be a big shame not to include it on the album because the dynamics of the album changes, and I think that's only a
Yes.
positive thing because you have if you sit and listen to an album from start to from beginning to end, you need to have some switches in the dynamics to keep the listener engaged, and I really feel that "Become the Flame" kickstarts. It really punches you in the face
Hmm.
when you're listening to the album from beginning to end. So, but it was mainly Martin who wrote that song, the music. So, and for me, it's also one of the songs I really enjoy. It's also one of the first songs we actually played live from the new
Oh,
album,
wow.
way before the album ever was called Soundtrack for the End Times and stuff like that. We played a show in Denmark where we played one of the new songs as a, I don't know if I want to say a gimmick, but we used it for promotion at least, and then we played that song, and I love that song as well. So
another one of my favorites is A Darker Path.
yeah,
I find that to be a great track, and I love its position on the album.
it's song number 7, right?
Yes.
Song number 7, yeah. We actually, I have a fun story about that because we actually asked Henrik, the old singer, Kral, the original harsh vocalist, to do guest vocals on that song because I felt that it had kind of the same expression as you might say that Everblack has, you know, the darker expression in the music and also the lyrics. And but he actually said that he didn't want to do it. It sounded kind of like a song number 7 on an album. And then we talked about, well, now it has to be song number 7 on the album. It's a funny little story. But yeah, that's the, you know, I really enjoy the part in I think I don't know what the English word is for it, but it's called the C part in Denmark, where there's like this melodic verse stuff, and I felt that came together really well, and that's also one of the songs I can enjoy listening to as well. We haven't played it live yet though, but I hope we get to. Yeah.
And I also wanted to ask you about the video for Anthem for the Anxious. How did that go for you?
Yeah, well, we have a collaboration with a guy called Nicholas, young, a young man from Denmark, and we actually came in touch with him with doing some recording the From the Ashes of the Fallen single back in 2020 or 2019 maybe. And then we talked to Jacob Hansen, and he had used him for some video stuff in the studio. And then we talked to him talked to him about doing the video for From the Ashes, and then I actually talked the guys into doing a regular music video for one of the songs because I felt that we needed to shake it up a bit and still be able to do like videos where we actually were playing the song and in the video. So we talked to him, and he was up for doing it. So we actually recorded it at a local small venue in Jacob's hometown, and we did it with 2 lights and just, you know, in one evening. It was pretty fun, and also I think it came out pretty amazing. If you can,
Yes.
you know, the circumstances definitely. So he's a very talented young man, and just a pleasure to work with. So I can't believe how awesome he made it look with just 2 lights and 3 old men and 1 young guy. So that's pretty good, yeah. And we actually recorded it during a storm in Denmark. There was, you know, in Denmark,
Wow.
we don't really have that. You know, we don't have hurricanes and stuff like that. But every time we have like some harsh winds, and you know, maybe a tree will tip over and stuff like that, the media is just raging. It's like, oh, a storm is coming. Everyone better stay inside. And we had an evening like that where trees actually were tipping over, and you know, everything was just flying around. And we drove up to Skoping, the town's called. I think it's maybe 50 minutes away from me. And I remember just walking into this venue, just dragging all the stuff, and we almost just if the wind caught the guitar, we almost it was almost ripped out of your hand. So it was pretty harsh circumstances, at least for Denmark. So, but it was fun, and I guess I'll always remember what day we recorded the video because it was a pretty hectic day. Yeah. So.
And I also wanted to ask you about the album artwork because it's very immersive, and it's a perfect accompaniment to the music. I wanted to ask you about the artist and how you found the artist for the album.
Yeah, well, Nicholas is he's originally actually a guitar player from Dark Tranquillity, and we've also been touring with the guys, and he did some artwork before for Mercenary, and we just felt that he was the natural choice to do like an artwork that would reference, kind of the return to some of the. I don't think we ever like I don't think we chose to be a bit less harsh on the previous albums. I think originally Mercenary started out as a death metal band, with some thrash
Mhm.
elements, and then
Sure.
we over the years we just we had a bit of a switch in the sound, and the guitars were maybe a bit down in the mix, and we had some more clean vocals, and I just felt that for me personally, being a fan of Mercenary before I came into the band as a kid, in Denmark. Mercenary here in the north of Denmark, Mercenary was one of the only bands in the 90s for me that I actually knew of the Danish metal bands, and also we had Ill Disposed, and later on Nimic and Raunchy and all these bands coming up, but Mercenary was one of the first Danish bands that I actually was into, and I felt the Everblack album had some really really cool elements. And that was, if I remember correctly, I believe now I'm actually beginning to doubt myself. I can't remember if Everblack was Travis Smith or it was Nicholas, but we had some back in the day. We had some more like painting. The artworks for the albums were more like a painting, and we talked to Nicholas about doing something that kind of uh, would take the viewer, that when you saw the album, you would think of some of the older artworks, and
Sure.
also, but still adding some new elements to it as well. And I really felt that from the get go, he really got the vibe of the title and the vibe of the stuff that we wanted to do. So it was actually pretty close. The first mock-up he made of the cover art was actually pretty close to what we ended up with having. So but he's a really really cool guy, and very talented as well. So it was a pleasure to work with him, definitely.
And what lies ahead for the band as the next step of tour?
Yeah, well, touring for us is a bit difficult, but we try to do as many tours as we possibly can. But we're pretty strung up with small kids and jobs and all that. Boring, not the kids, but jobs are kind of boring sometimes, and I think
Sure.
all of us would just want to just play music, but there's still a lot of emotional stuff going on, and I got a new girlfriend. I think about around 6 years ago, and she's not used to me touring because we had a kind of like a hiatus from the band, and
Mhm.
at least from touring, we still met up in the rehearsal rooms, but we only did some Danish shows and stuff like that. So she's a bit, she's a bit scared that it's going to be long, a long time for me to be away, weeks at a time and stuff like that. But
Sure.
that of course, it's easy for me because I love being on the road, and 2 weeks on the road is like, you snap your fingers and then you're home because
Right.
it's fun and you meet a lot of people and you get to do what you love to do. But I can understand that it's difficult, for as the other party, to be left at home and having to take care of the kids and everything alone. So, and that's kind of the same thing for the other guys. But we have some touring in Europe next year, and then we hope to get to the States because we never really played in the States. We only played two shows in the States. We played in Atlanta two times. That's the only shows we ever did. So we really hope to be able to go to the States at one point, and that would make sense to do maybe 3 weeks in the States at some point. But it's after all the COVID and all that, the touring expenses has just gone up, so it's very
Sure.
expensive for bands like us to go to the States, and also American bands to go to Europe. It's fucking really costs a lot of money, but it would be awesome to do because I know that we have a lot of people in the States who really want us to come. So, and we really appreciate that as well. So we
And
hope to be able to go out and support, you know, the album live as well.
yeah, I think it'd be a great one to see live, and it'd be great to have you guys here in the States.
We will love that, man. It will be awesome because it's you know, for me it's always been a dream to just, you know, to be able to go across America in a bus and see all the different parts. And you know, growing up in a small country like Denmark is really small. You know, it takes you. I think the longest drive you can take in Denmark from one end to another is 4 hours, stuff like that. So it's very small. And so it's for us to you know to go to America where, you know, where there's so much different nature and different parts of the countryside and stuff you can see. You get to see
Sure.
like so many different things. You know, it could be awesome. So hopefully we'll be able to do that before we get too old to play the songs.
And you guys have had a great career, and you know, I've always felt uh, happy to be a part of it from the early days. I wanted to ask you, what do you feel is the key to longevity for a band?
I think definitely the for us it's been, you know, the ability to actually like agree upon taking time off from the band at some part. You know, when people wanted to do different things, two of us has taken and you know, I did some studying and took a diploma for. I've always worked as a social worker with kids with different disabilities, and also Martin is a social worker as well. And I think, you know, that being able to balance the music and balance your private life is a big part of why I think we still are able to play music, because we've been touring with bands who try to live off the music, you know. And as a metal musician, you have to be really huge to make a good living off the music. So and also bands like Trivium, you know, Matt Heafy is he's a beast. He's doing
No, yes,
millions of things. He's just always working, and he seems just genuinely just like a fucking. He's always been so genuine and fucking awesome to us. And I just see this guy who's really just busting his ass and doing all these things to just make a good career for himself, and certainly has. He certainly has made
mhm,
an awesome career, and but still, you know, as a metal musician, he doesn't get, you know, he's not raking in the millions. He's not like set for life. You know, he needs to work every day. He needs to work still when you're in a huge band like Trivium. And for us, you know, we're very far from having the success that Trivium has. And so I think we've kind of like come to rest with that. We're not going to be these huge. When I was 20 years old, I thought, well, I'm going to be a metal super beast. We're going to be fucking huge.
right.
And now I feel like that. I'm just thankful to be able to make music that people actually listen to. And every time I'm playing for 200 people or 500 people or a festival doing 20,000 people, it's just like, for me, I'm just thankful every time people show up and people actually take time to listen to the music and um, and to be able to actually go touring when you've been less active for 10 years and still be able to do a tour, and even in Denmark or Europe or hopefully the States one day, not being a huge band, but still being relevant enough to actually have people wanting to have you fly across the Atlantic to play for them. I actually feel really blessed to be able to do this, and I feel that not having to do it as a job makes it more fun. You know, it never becomes
Oh yeah.
boring or stale or no, I never have a day standing on stage where I'm thinking, I wish I was at home, you know, because every time I go out playing now, it's just something I've been looking forward to for months, you know. So I feel it actually gives us, you know, some more vitality, and I'm fucking, you know, I'm just thankful for being able to do this for almost 20 years now. So And I was worried, man. I was really worried when we took 10 years between records. I was kind of worried. I was, are people even going to remember who Mercenary is? Because it's if Metallica waits 10 years to put out an album, it doesn't really matter because they they're fucking Metallica. Everybody remembers them, but it's not always the case for a small Danish band. But I really feel that people definitely remembered who we were, and definitely.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I can speak as a fan that, you know, when someone hits you that well and grips you as a person and as a fan, you don't forget. And I think metal fans are the best for that because
Definitely,
we're all like family.
definitely, and that's what keeps me so fond of the metal community because you can meet a metal guy, you never talked to the guy before, and he might not even be a fan of the band you play in, but he still respects you, and that's the general thing in metal is that we have a community that's primarily focused on love and understanding and respect. And then there's always the black sheep, the people who make us look bad, and but there's very few of them, I feel. And
Sure.
and I just, every time you go, it doesn't matter which country you show up in, there's always a good vibe at a metal show. That's how, I've seen maybe one or two fights in my life at a metal show, and it's always been over pretty quick, and never really been that bad. It's always just been a
Yeah.
minor altercation. So that's what really makes me proud of being a metal musician because I have ADHD. I struggle a lot with aggression. And as a kid, I was really, I was easy. I was really easily, aggressive, not violent or say anything like that, but I had a bit of a temper, and metal music for me has always been, like the kettle where you just over the valve and all the steam just
Sure.
lets out because you can't really be mad when you've been yelling for 2 hours. It's impossible. So for me, it's just like, yeah, I don't really need to talk to a psychologist. I just need to sing, and sing about the stuff that that troubles me or makes me happy or makes me mad and I've actually been using that as well for when working with young people with some of the same some of the same problems and frustrations and not feeling they fit in and just telling them to sing it, man, or write it down, or
Yeah.
even though they don't maybe they feel they have the ability to make music. I tell them everyone has the ability to express themselves. And I was a really bad singer growing up. I had a band with a couple of guys from school, and it was fucking awful. I promise you, I wasn't I wasn't always a good singer. It was fucking terrible. So practice makes perfect. And I just music is just and especially the metal music for me is just something special. It has the ability to express feelings in a whole different way. So
Sure. And going back to before, I had spoken with Joel Hoekstra,
yeah,
um, and he's in, 5 different bands right now, and he's, you know, basically doesn't know where he's going from one day to the next. And it's it's a shame that the price of making that your one job
yeah,
is right now. That he, as great as he is, amazing guitarist, and has to string on 5 bands, do Trans-Siberian and do solo work, White Snake and whatever,
yeah.
just to get by.
It's crazy. And so sometimes you even bands like Slayer, when all that came out with the money stuff and how they were being ripped off by their
Sure.
management. Just I feel like one of the biggest metal bands in the world. If they
Yeah.
can't even make like a good living off the music, it's just that it's fucking yeah. It almost made me sick, to hear how little money they actually got off the shows. It's fucking terrible. And I think a lot of metal people are not that good at business. Because we just want to play music. We just really
Sure.
want to play music and have fun. And we never really thought of the music as a business thing. I don't think Slayer came together and said, "Well, we want to be the biggest band in the world." I think they just wanted to rip, you know, and
Sure.
to play the fastest music ever made, and they certainly did at that point, and and then it became big business, and the people providing the business, the people actually making the business, were the people getting the least money out of it. Just makes me sad,
Sure.
because they should be able to, because they're not that young anymore. They should be able to make a good living the rest of their lives. And
Absolutely.
I hope they're going to be able to, because they certainly deserve it. They've had a long and great career, and definitely a career that they can be proud of, and they should be able to put some money in the bank, and have a good living the rest of their days, and it makes me kind of sad, when you see metal bands being just like, not don't really get the you know the yeah, the right value for the money,
Sure.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And speaking on them lines, um, with your experience, what do you feel has been the best advice that has been given to you to help you through your path?
Well, I definitely feel that we've had a lot of help actually from the former label guys from Century Media. We have Life, a good friend of the band, who was one of the primary guys when we signed with Century Media back in the days, and he's been a great help. He's always been awesome at guiding us through the contracts and all the stuff. In when 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 um, when we signed with the Noise Art Records, we also went through the contract with him as well, because it's easy for a metal band. Like, we're not in this for the business aspects of it, because it's, well, we're not gonna. I think we actually came to terms with the money thing a long time ago. That we're never really gonna make any money off of playing metal. So we just want to have fun, and want to have fun and be able to make music in the best way possible. And but then it's good to have a guy, who's used to reading the contracts and finding all the the stuff in the contracts that you need to be aware of.
Sure.
And he's definitely been a great help, for us to just be able to have some a guy look upon all the paragraphs without having anything invested in it, and then give some sound advice. So that's definitely something that we've had a great deal, a great benefit from. So he's been a big help. And I think the most important part for me is that if you're a new band, and you need to because the value of a record deal today is, not as big as it was back in the day.
Sure.
You can easily, promotion online is really easy today if you know what to do. As a young band, many bands just make it on TikTok. If you're into this, you can. There's a lot of new bands who've made a name for themselves on TikTok or Instagram or stuff like that. It's not really our thing. We're really bad at this. We're bad at making a lot of waves. We've become better, but we still have a long way to go. But but you need to be aware that a record deal is not just like a golden ticket where you get a lot of
Right.
and the money you get is just like more like a loan. Here's 100,000 to record your album, but you need to be aware that 100,000 is going to be recouped. Every penny you earn from the band going forward is going to be recouped in the 100,000, and you don't get any money before the 100,000 is paid back. So it's just a loan that you get. So
Sure.
so being a new band, I will always advise bands to be very aware of the contract that they're signing, and what terms are we agreeing to, and are we licensing the music to the to the label? Are we giving, the rights for the music to the label? Actually, a good point is Michael from Volbeat always said, "I'm never gonna give the rights to my music to anyone. If you wanna,
Sure.
if you wanna have, the ability to release the songs, then you can rent the rights from me. But it's my music." And back in the days, people were like, "Okay, relax, man. It's just, never gonna make any money off it anyway. So just give the music to the label, and then you get some money back." But he earns, when you have the rights for the music as well, it's just a very good business move. He's a very, very
Sure.
good businessman, and I think that's rare, in music. I think in general, because music is a passion and not a business thing. So and he's just I have a lot of respect for his way to always believing in the music and always believing in his own ability as a musician and never giving in to any thing that he wasn't comfortable with. And that's a very good business move. It proved to be a very, very good business move. So
Absolutely.
definitely, my advice would be, and the best advice would be not to give the music away cheap to the labels, at least. Yeah.
I also wanted to ask you, what's the best way to get merchandising and a physical copy of the album?
We have a licensing deal with Napalm, so I think you can order it through Napalm actually, and I do believe they have some merch as well through the label. And you can always order it from our web shop, but I know it's very expensive. It's shipping the stuff to the States, so it's a bit difficult. But I know the physical CDs and LPs, vinyls, are available through Napalm Records in the States. Yeah.
Yeah, what I try to do, being from States, is a lot of times when I order from bands, I check with all my friends so we can place one big order so that it helps with the shipping.
Yeah, because it is a bit steep. It's
Yes.
at our end, it's a bit steep, and and it's just if you pay like $30 for the CD, but you pay $40 for the shipping, it seems a bit,
Right.
yeah, it's a bit rough,
So,
definitely.
so it softens the blow, getting some friends together and
Yeah,
making a big
definitely
order, you
makes
know.
makes good sense.
And lastly, I wanted to ask you if you could give a message to your fans, what would that message be?
Well, one of the messages would be thank you, thank you for still being around and still sending a lot of love and support for the band, and thank you for still pitching to getting us to the States. And I promise that we will do everything we can to visit you soon, hopefully. And also, like I said, we. We've been dreaming of going, so hopefully we will be able to fulfill that dream as well for the people who ask us to go. So I just want to say a big fucking thank you and a lot of respect for the way that you've been treating us through the years, and we're thankful, man. Definitely.
Well, I wanted to say as a fan, I'm very thankful for the music that you bring. Um, and listening to an album like this that immerses you from cover to cover, it takes you away from the daily stress of everything that's going on in the world.
I'm happy.
And that's a gift that's priceless.
That was the the original idea, to have a, that's always what music can, if you really feel the music, it makes you forget all about the difficult, the different stuff going around. And that's also one of the, I just did a Danish interview actually where we talked about the lyrical universe and what it's all about, and just a lot of fucking misery in the world. And sometimes you just need to forget, the misery to just be able to be sane for one day, because it's when you start thinking about all the stuff going on, it's just, yeah, it makes you sick, Uh, and also growing up in Denmark, Denmark is a pretty privileged country in some ways, you can have on the news, like children dying, people getting bombed, people fucking living in poverty and not getting food, and then you see Danes just like, well, I'm not able to go on vacation for the second time this year because our heat went up, and just small problems are big problems in Denmark sometimes, and that just makes me, sometimes it makes me angry, to
Sure.
to hear, like spoiled Danish people being bitching about not having the money to buy a second vacation home or stuff like that. It's just, I think we need to be aware of, the real problems actually in the world, and also in Denmark we have social security. We have, if I break my leg, I can go to the hospital. I don't have to pay anything, and so we have a lot of privileges in Denmark. And I think sometimes if you have these privileges, you need to be aware that you're actually that you have them, and you don't have to go around, like bitching about small things, and making them sound like you have a rough life. It's
Sure. Because the unfortunate reality is that we face is that as quick as we got them privileges, they can be taken away.
yeah, definitely, and that's I just want to, every day I wake up and I feel good. I'm thankful, and every day I open my computer and I read the positive messages and the support and all the stuff going around. I'm just I'm just thankful, man, and I make sure to remind myself each and every day that I'm fortunate to be alive and fortunate to be able to make music, and that's also something I'm very aware of these last years, that fucking I'm fucking humbled to be able to play with these guys and to be able to make music with these guys, because I wouldn't have been able to make this album on my own, and that's really really cool, and it's really cool to still be able to do it after all these years. So
Absolutely. Well,
so
I wanted to thank you so much, my friend, for taking time to speak with me. It's been
yeah,
an absolute pleasure.
thank you for the patience around the scheduling and stuff like that. So
No problem at all, my friend. You have a great rest of your day.
you too, man, and thank you for the talk.
All right. Cheers.
See you, man.